Yay!
Yay!
Well, welcome back to Pop Palace. I'm so excited to have you back. How have you been? What's Lily Kincaid been up to lately?
Oh my gosh, hello. I love Pop Palace. I'm always listening. I'm always catching the episodes. I'm ready for another season. But I've been this summer, I feel like I've really just been diving into a lot of music. I feel like I have periods where I feel like every creative has this where you do like a lot of inward periods and then you have like outward periods.
Hmm.
And it's always like kind of strange because you get so used to doing it and like releasing my cinematic, my debut album last year, you're so used to like the outward part of it, like making the videos and talking to different people and singing it, that it's like so weird again to go inward and like be writing and be in the studio. But it's fun. But life is about balance. So I've been doing a lot of inward work and writing this summer.
Yeah, totally. Has it been, do you ever get like antsy and like you feel like you need to like go do something since you've been like so focused on yourself and writing?
Yes, I definitely have to get out of my head because it is such
Hmm.
like an internal thing when you are like in your head thinking about your feelings. How did this make me feel? Do I like this feeling? Do I not like this feeling? Like you can get so stuck in your head that you got to like do something fun. You got to dive into the ocean. I
Yeah.
love rollerblading. I'm a big
Hmm.
rollerblader. I'm not the best. I wear a helmet, but something like outside nature is definitely a need.
Yeah, totally. Rollerblading is so fun. I remember when I was little, I got a pair of rollerblades as a gift for like birthday, and I need to get a new pair because I outgrew them, but it's so fun and like so
It's fun.
freeing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's fun too. Like it's a great workout, but also too, I'll just put on music, and it's nice because it forces you. Like you can't be on your phone when you're rollerblading. Like when I'm
No,
walking,
yeah.
I always am like, okay, I'm not going to be on my phone when I'm walking, but like you end up like scrolling or changing your music, and then you get distracted. But rollerblading,
Hmm.
you like have to be. You're like, I'm not gonna. You got to be like phone away, phone in the fanny pack, and so it's very fun. I love that you rollerblade. Nobody ever does it. I do it alone because like I try to get all my friends, and they're like, no, and I'm like, just do it.
No, I need to come and we can go rollerblade together.
Yes.
Okay, so it's been about a year since Cinematic was released. Now that it's been out to the world, do your feelings for like each song have they evolved or changed since it's been like a year since it came out?
Hmm.
So like to me, I listen to an album when it first comes out, and then sometimes I'll pick it back up when I'm like in a different part of my life and it'll kind of mean something different. So to you, has it like taken a new life, or has it been, what's like the
Ooh.
vibe for you?
That's a great question. I feel like I do that similarly too with like other albums I listen to as well, but with cinematic, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the song, at least with my music, I try to make everything kind of timeless where like
Hmm.
even if I'm not feeling those feelings about the person I wrote the song about or something, it ends up relating to my life in some other way.
Yeah.
Like where I don't know, it's interesting. And I do that a lot with my own music where I'll cuz the process of me like making it, I'm listening to it hundreds of times. Like
Hmm.
going through the producing process, going through the mixing. Should we turn the guitar up? Should we turn the guitar down? That like by the time it's out, I'm like, I don't want to hear it for a couple months. But recently, I actually did listen to it when I've been traveling a lot, so I had it downloaded on my phone, and I was listening to it, and I was like, wait, this is really good. Like I don't know, I think it for me, like yes, it's always going to take me back to the time that I wrote the song, since like writing is such a big part of my artistry and who I am, that like
Hmm.
I'm very specific when I write, and so I'm there's no way I'm not going to think about that. But it is interesting to see how I feel like in life we just go through the same things. We just like are going through the same things in like
Hmm.
slightly different variations. But it also, I don't know, listening to it and going through similar themes that I like wrote about years ago, it's interesting because I'm just like, we just learn, rinse and repeat. Like life is just, we're never going to get to a place where we feel like, okay, we're perfect now. We have no issues. We're not upset. We're like this. We're never going to get there. So just finding ways to kind of embrace the season of life that we're in, which I feel like, I don't know, I listen to my music a lot because I like my music.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that music has like the power to like it can mean like it can find you in like the time of life you're in then, even if it was like meant something different when you first listened to it. Like
Yeah.
my whole like the song can mean the same thing to you, but then you have different people in your life and different aspects that it relates to now. And that's just something I really love about music is it's like forever growing.
Yes. And it's so crazy too. Like sometimes I'll listen to an album and like I just will not be in the space or I
Mhm.
won't get the song, and then I'll just a month or 2 later, I'll shuffle my music and, like, hear a song, and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I meant." Or, like, even with, like, Tortured Poets Department, some of the songs I was like, "Oh my god, this is me," and then, like, something happened that summer, and then at the end of the summer, I was like, all these other songs hit even harder now,
Yeah.
it's so
Mhm.
but that's why music is so cool. I don't know how people cannot be, like, into music. I'm like, it's crazy because it's one of the only times where I feel like your music is so powerful. Like even it's very healing. Like there's a lot of therapies that use music and it's just so crazy that music is one of those fully like I love movies, I love TV shows, but there is something different about music, like physically listening to it that I don't know, I feel like it always hits deeper and like
Yeah.
heals you more than just a TV show or movies.
And I think it's cool too because like you as an artist could have a meaning in a song and release it and only like see it as one way, and then someone could interpret it and like find their own meaning, and they're both just as valuable but so specific to the person. And I just
Yes.
think this so cool. Have you had any like fan interactions or comments about the release of the album? What is everyone saying about
Everyone's been loving the album that I've seen.
it?
I really just love it. I think it's cool. I feel like I'm still at this place in my career where, I always say a song is new to every person that's never heard it. And
Mhm.
so I always go into everything with like the mindset of it doesn't matter if I feel like, oh, it's an old song or I released it a year ago. It's new. There's so many people who haven't heard it. And I think one of the coolest parts of having an album is I feel like a lot more people discover it. So it's been really cool, even like meeting people in real life who have never listened to any of my music and they're like, I'm gonna play your album, like from top to bottom and like listen to it, like blind listen. And
Mhm.
it's really cool because I personally like I love EPs, but I there's just something about an album. I'm like, I want to go into the world. I just want to put it on and zone out. I don't want to have to like queue up songs. I just want to just put it on. And it's been really cool to hear what people thought of the album and like their favorites from people who have never heard any of my music before. Like
Yeah.
that's probably the coolest part because it's as an artist, like I wanted to create a world. I wanted to create a body of music that was all the songs are like siblings in a way, but
Mhm.
that are all part of a bigger picture. So like that's the coolest thing with an album is it gives you a chance to not try to rush everything you're trying to say into like 4 or 5 songs. You get like more time. But yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you are such a good world builder. And your worlds like travel beyond like just like the internet and like because you have a blog and you're always doing like content and things like this. And I feel like people can be like fully immersed into the world when they listen to your music. Is this
Mhm.
something that's intentional and that you like have to piece together, or is it kind of come naturally as like the artist that you are?
I think it yes, it's something that pieces together, but it definitely comes naturally
Hmm.
because it is just me, which I realized, every artist is different. Some artists want to have a persona and do that. And I was like, I could not do that. That would be too hard for me to like try to figure out, like keep things separate. And I feel like so much that like the thing I care about with music is I wouldn't sing my own songs probably if I didn't write them. So I realized, okay,
Hmm.
it's the storytelling. It's the storytelling that I really love. Getting
Yeah.
able to like put emotions. I somehow have the gift of just like putting them into something that is understandable to other people and to myself even. And so I think it all kind of ties together. I find that especially as a songwriter and I love music as well that like it's really good to have another creative outlet that's not that because if you when your job is your safe space like your creative outlet it's so easy to get burnt out on it because that's
Hmm.
where you go to when you are emotional but if that's what's making you emotional or that's what's making you kind of feel like all over the place it's really difficult so I love just other forms of creativity like photography or like writing not music writing like blog writing or like writing articles or traveling to new places and doing making outfits, sewing things. Like I love doing that. And so then it ends up working together because I'm like, okay, I can share all these things and it's still art in a different way. But yeah, I just try to be as like creative as possible because everything helps everything, every and I love like learning new skills, especially as an independent artist. I'm always like, even if I when I have a huge budget one day and I can have all these people help me do things, I think it's so helpful for every creative to at least know the basics of how to do things because then you're able to
Hmm.
communicate with somebody, hey, I want the shot to look like this. And you'll know the terminology. You'll feel like you have more confidence in your vision, which is it's really difficult because there's just so many things bombarding us all of the time. But I love just expressing myself in different ways. And then they all kind of tie together. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's like compounding. Like the more
Yeah.
that you do in different things, it's just like slowly like adding. I don't know. I think of
Yes.
like it as like music as like or like content or like I don't know, having your person out there as like you have a
Yes.
jar and you're putting like grains of sand and it might not seem like a lot, but like each grain slowly builds up. It's so it
Yes.
all compounds to each other.
I love that. And it's like this is not off topic. This is on topic, but you're really good at this too with posting everything, but it is that because all it takes is one, and people don't realize that. Like every career, no matter what, even if you're, I was thinking about this today, even if you're somebody that's like, I want to work at this hospital, I'm a doctor, I want to work at this hospital. It's like all it
Hmm.
takes is one meeting. That person has been doing surgeries or doing residencies for years and years and years. All it takes is just one thing. And every time we're like, I think about it with songs. I'm like, every time I put out a song that I love and stand behind, all it takes is one. I don't know. We don't know when the one's going to be. Like, we can't determine like what's going to happen or maybe when that deal's going to happen or when the stars will align. But if we're just continuing to put, it's like lottery tickets too. I was thinking about, it's like we just got
Hmm.
to continue to do it and believe in it, then eventually it will. And I've just realized that seeing people around me and just, it literally is just persistence and
Yeah.
consistency, which is, it sounds so simple. And everyone's told us this, right? Like consistency is key. You just have to keep going. But it's harder than, like, it's easier said than done. It's harder when
Hmm.
you're in the moment, in the day to day of life, when there's so much going on around us to keep doing that. But that's, we got to persevere. We got to push
Yeah.
through.
And we're doing it.
We're doing it.
So, kind of a little bit back to the world building for like cinematic, did you already kind of have the world built in your head before you started writing the songs? Or did you already have a few songs together that were like, oh, it kind of fits into this world? How did it like kind of come together?
Come together. Okay. So the whole world of cinematic came together naturally, and then I kind of built on it. So I always say
Hmm.
the songs will speak to me. The song like naturally,
Yeah.
I usually don't go in the mindset of in the beginning being like, here's the title of the album, here's the themes of it. What I'll do, my process usually is, you know, I'll have a period of time where I'm like, I just want to write as much as I can. Maybe I'll work with new people, listening to new inspiration, just writing as much as I can. And then I'll kind of like look at the songs and they'll start to like, this sounds crazy. They won't speak to me, but they're like, I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. That I use that word a lot and I used it in this song, or these two songs have
Hmm.
similar metaphors. I'll see the similarities. That's what I'll do. I'll see the similarities in them. And then from that, something will form. And so with cinematic, I'd written probably, I wouldn't say all the songs, but I had written probably three or four that ended up making the album. And then I wrote cinematic. And the day I wrote cinematic, it clicked and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is what it should be." And then I ended up writing Mr. Hollywood about 2 months maybe after I wrote cinematic, intentionally like locking in on the theme
Hmm.
with everything. And then I like would, for weeks I had sticky notes I would put up and I would like move around the order because I'd be like, no, this needs to
Yeah.
be here. And then I would
Hmm.
listen to the demos, I would listen to the songs in that order and make changes. But I always say I like having a title track. Maybe one day I won't, but I right now I love having a
I
title
love a
track.
title
That
track.
I love a title track. I don't
Yeah.
know why people like went away from the title track. I love a title track because I think of it as like a little trailer. Like if I only had 4 minutes, which song should I listen to that's going to give
Hmm.
me the vibe of this? I love a title track, and I feel like the you always know when you write, at least me, I know when I write a title track and then it just clicks and everything falls into place. So cinematic was like that. I wrote cinematic. There was a couple more songs I had to write, but I wrote that and everything started to come together.
I love that. That sounds so fun too. Do you get like a rush out of like kind of solving the puzzle and like putting it
Yes.
together?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy because it's so weird in a weird and a cool way. Like you're creating something from nothing, which already is
Hmm.
just, it's kind of hard to even wrap your mind around because it didn't exist.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, like when it all clicks. And it can be so frustrating because you can't force it. But with
Hmm.
creativity, you can't force it. You just have to give it the space. Even me being a songwriter, even if I'm in a season where I'm like, I don't have anything to write about, I don't know. What I do is I like schedule time where I'm like, okay, put your phone away. You have to sit here for 2 hours. And eventually you're going to get bored of sitting there and doing nothing.
Yeah.
So eventually I start writing something and whatever I didn't want to talk about or whatever's hiding comes out. But you just have to give it time, which is hard because we want everything fast and everything is so fast now.
Hmm.
But yeah,
And we are getting a few more songs for a deluxe
yes.
album soon. Were those songs already written when you had cinematic like laid out and picked out, or did they come later?
Some of the songs were written, and some of the songs were written kind of in the process of I had already had the album pretty much
Mm-hmm.
done. I would say a lot of them are a lot of them are all but one of them I wrote 100% by myself. So they were a lot of just internal songs that
Yeah.
I had started but maybe didn't finish because I didn't want to like
Mm-hmm.
emotionally finish those. I like to say
Yeah.
it's a good kind of summing up of that season. Like I can definitely say too that as it's so crazy because like as I'm getting to release this, I'm already working on stuff for my second album and my second project, which is so I like every project to have its own like sound world too, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
okay, the production, the instruments we use, the tone of my voice, the instruments. And so it's really interesting to kind of see, even in terms of the writing style, I would say it's much more narrative in the cinematic world because I did want it to feel like a movie, like you were reading something, like it's a narrator kind of telling this story. And so the cinematic deluxe songs are very very narrative, but they were like they're very wordy in a good way where I just kind of needed
Yeah.
to get out everything to
Mm-hmm.
close that chapter, you know.
Totally. Do you have a favorite? Is it possible to pick a favorite?
Ooh, I really like Tell Me One Thing. Yeah, I really
Mm-hmm.
like that song. I really
Yeah.
like that song because it's a relatable feeling. I was talking to my friend who I played her the song and I was talking to her because I remember when I started writing that song, we were on FaceTime. We were just like, yapping about boy problems and just yapping
Mm-hmm.
about life. And it's interesting. I feel like that song it's a very different, like not mature feeling, but kind of mature where you realize that you can't change somebody. And it's equally sad, but it's equally freeing because you realize,
Yeah.
the right person, the right person's going to see you and is going to
Mm-hmm.
accept you for who you are. And as much as we try to change people, we can't. And so all we can do is be ourselves and let the person that's meant for us, let the people that are supposed to be in our lives see that. I always say like everybody wants to be loved, but nobody will be themselves. So how are people supposed to
Mm-hmm.
love you and see you and be want to be friends with you if they don't even know who you are? And it's scary, of course, to be vulnerable and to express how you feel and express your emotions, but we have to do that if we ever want to be seen, and
And it's
loved
so
for who we are.
freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you ever want to be like free of the constructs of other people's like
Yes.
feelings towards you, then you'll be like your best self too and have
Yeah.
the best product or the best like creativity that you can have.
Exactly. Plus it's like people pleasing. You're not doing it from a place of like you're just living life for people to like you or living life how people
Mm-hmm.
are going to see you online. You're not actually living because you're so in your head. Like, and I had periods of my life where I was like that. I feel like we all do when we're growing up and you're figuring out who you are and you have no idea what you're doing. I mean, I still have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm definitely much less of a people pleaser than I was because people don't, we often assume that people don't want to see our messy parts and people want us to be perfect and have it all together. No, the opposite is true. People relate to you when you are messy, when you are, because we're not perfect. Like nobody is perfect. And so if we try to act perfect all the time, and I realize this too with my music, if I tried to like act perfect all the time and keep my music so good, even like, oh, if all my songs were the perfect length and I didn't want to share something vulnerable, like
Mm-hmm.
that's great, but like that's not real, you know?
Yeah. And being perfect, after a while, it gets so boring too. Cause like you
Yeah.
can't like branch out from like that structure that you
Yes.
built yourself into. And so like
Exactly.
I feel like it could go good for like a little bit, but eventually I feel like you're gonna like kind of lose your creative freedom.
Yeah, and it's always good. It's like don't box yourself in. I always
Right.
say I who knows? It's like maybe one day I can make a heavy metal I will never make a heavy metal album, but like you never know. Like
But you never
I never
know.
yeah, you never know. You never know. And I think that's good too to just let yourself no matter your creative form for whoever's watching this, like let yourself don't you can change. And I feel like it's hard when
Hmm.
people see you, when people know you as a certain thing. That doesn't mean you can never do that style of photography again or never do that style of music again. You can try something. It doesn't mean that you're like, you can add new things. And I feel like that's something too that really has like shifted in the way I make music is I'm not afraid to try something. Okay, if I don't like it, that's fine. You can go
Hmm.
back, but you got to change. You got to change things up to grow. You got to incorporate new styles, incorporate new instruments.
Yeah. So how do you find yourself challenging yourself to grow or change like in your music? Do you like find
Ooh.
inspiration from like other media forms that aren't music?
I read a lot of books. I'm a big book
Yeah.
reader. I always have been. When I was little, my parents would take away my book. I would be like reading my book in the middle of the night. Like that was like
Yeah.
punishment for me to be like, you can't read. We're taking away your book. I still love reading. And that's like my escape mode. Like
Mhm.
when I'm and it I find that when I'm scrolling too much, it's because I'm not reading. Like that's my other like escape, which we all are guilty of doing it time to time. But I love reading because it's one of the only times where I feel like both sides of your brain, like your logical side of your brain and then your creative side of your brain, is fully immersed. And you're able to
Mhm.
kind of put yourself in the shoes of these characters and live all these different lives. So I really do. I get a lot of inspiration from reading and just perspective. And then, of course, I love movies. I love TV shows. I love life. I get inspiration from everywhere. I'm like, I could go look at flower whenever I'm on a walk. I always like look at the flowers because I like
Mhm.
start to cry. I'm like, they're so pretty. They're so
Yeah.
beautiful. All of the nature. And yes, it's hard. Of course, it's like I'll admit, like we're all probably addicted to our phones, and I definitely spend way too much time on my phone than I should.
Mhm.
But I think it's just about being intentional with seeking out other sources of creativity and knowing that living a full life is what's going to make your creativity good. Like I could lock myself every day on my piano and just every single day just be writing, but if I'm not living life, what do I have to say? What am I learning that I can express my emotions that will make somebody else feel less alone in their journey if I'm not out there living? So
Yeah.
I think it's important too to I always try to surround myself with new people, go new places, just
Mhm.
constantly learning things. I feel helps everybody as a human, but especially as a creative, at least for me.
Yeah, I love that. Kind of going off like the book thing, one thing that I love to ask like people I've interviewed is if they could create an unconventional merch item they could sell, what would it
Ooh,
be? But you're already kind of selling a little
yeah.
unconventional with your handmade album lyric script.
Yes, with my script.
Can you
Ooh.
tell us a little bit about that and like how you got the idea and what is in the script?
Yes, see, look, I actually have actually I was making a deluxe
Oh,
one the
cute.
other day to have the lyrics. I actually because I love writing and I'm
Mhm.
writing some screenplays and other forms of creative stuff too at the moment. But growing up in California too, tying into the cinematic, I love movies and I love storytelling and when cinematic when I was like, "That is the title, that is the theme of
Mhm.
it," I was like, "I have to make a script, I have to type the lyrics up like
Yeah.
that because I have all the software and stuff on my computer from writing movies and stuff like that, and so typing up all the lyrics like this was really cool, and originally I just did it for fun, and then I
Mhm.
ended up being like, "Wait, I kinda like this to use for, like, it became a huge part. I've been making the lyric videos for Cinematic Deluxe, and everything is still since this is all part of the same world, it's like everything's cohesive together,
Yeah.
and even the lyric videos I made, like, using the script and all the lyrics on there, and it's really cool because I always said, "I want my music to be something that you can read, almost like
Mhm.
poetry." Obviously, it's meant for your ears, so you should be listening to it to get the full effect, but
Right.
I want when I'm writing, I'm always like, I want you to be able to read the lyrics and it should still tell a story. Even when I'm in the
Mhm.
studio, I'll do that. Like if I'm writing with co-writers, we'll do that. We'll just like sit down with our computers and we'll like read it like you would poetry to make sure that it still makes sense because I do care a lot about the story and typing up the scripts is really cool because sometimes I'll read it and in my head, sometimes I'll sing it, but it is really cool to read it and still see the story, even though there's no music, even though there's no vocals, there's no instruments. It is really cool to see that. And the script is just like a cool way to to see the whole story written out without the music.
Yeah. No, I think it's literally so cool. I haven't seen anything like that before, like as like a merch item. And I feel
Yes.
like people get so into like the t-shirts, which trust me, I love a shirt, but like having something different, like a different like physical item to me is like so cool and so special. And like you said, being able to read it almost like poetry. Cause I like
Yeah,
to read the lyrics and then when I listen
me
to it, I
too.
think about it in like a different way. Cause sometimes I feel like I
Yes.
miss it. And so
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I get that. I was listening to Grace Abrams' new album and I'm like, I like to read the lyrics and I can like know what's going on.
Hmm.
And then also too, I'm somebody who like I want to sing along with it. So I like to read the lyrics so I can sing along because I want to karaoke.
Yeah, exactly. So you said you do a little bit of screenplay writing. Do you ever see yourself writing cinematic into like a film or like a play?
Yeah, definitely. I think that they always say like everybody kind of writes about the same thing. Like there's only a couple of things, it's like love,
Hmm.
loss, And so I definitely at one point will probably write a memoir, write it, way down the line, I'll write
Yeah.
a memoir, write, I'll definitely one day make my real life into something. But
Mhm.
yeah, we take all that's the joy of being a writer is you get to take all of the emotions you go through. And it's interesting because music for me is so it's like my diary. So that's where I feel like I can music is like my shield to express all my crazy emotions. But then it's really cool to like flip it in a new way and be writing characters, and they're not necessarily inspired by me, but I definitely take feelings because it's like, I'm in touch with my feelings so much being a songwriter that then
Mhm.
that allows me to like really create characters that are so realistic because I know I have so much about feelings and I'm thinking about feelings all day. But it's really cool to also to that's like my version of writing where I get to kind of step outside myself, outside of
Mhm.
my head and like create outward versus like create inward, which is like fun and cool. But yeah, the cinematic universe would be a very cool movie one day that I'll have to
Yeah,
do.
I could see it happening. I feel like
Yeah.
it'd be so fun. Do we can we expect any live shows soon?
Yes. Okay. I'm hoping to do some live shows in the fall. It's been
Yay.
really fun. And, I always say, I feel like it was probably my mom or my teacher or somebody that would always say, like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And it really is that. Like, the older that I get, the more all those crazy little silly cliches are like so true, which is wild. But, having my first full band show a couple months ago in LA was like crazy. And it was just really cool to see it all come together. And so after doing that, it's definitely been really excited to start to plan that and to keep rehearsing. Like I always say, like, I want to be ready when the opportunity happens. I want to be
Mhm.
ready. So I keep training my voice, putting together shows. But I will say it was really fun putting together a live show. It almost felt like I was making a musical or something. Like I had outfits and I love
Yeah.
that. I love because I did theater growing up. And so I love it. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's really cool being like, okay, here, like I with my band members, I was like, okay, this is the song you're gonna like go to this side. Like we had like choreography,
Mhm.
and it's cool because it's also another way for people to see your music and
Yeah.
see the vision that you have in your head come to life. I'm always like as many forms as possible. Like why not? But it's definitely really fun. And so I've been kind of just prepping, getting things ready. And it's also exciting too because I feel like I used to be so precious with songs or with things being like, I don't know if I can release this yet. Like I'll wait. I would wait a lot. And I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of people can do that. And a lot of times it's out of fear or like you don't think you're going to write something better, like a scarcity mindset. And I had to get over that and realize that, you know what? No, the more you create, the more you create. And it sounds counterintuitive, but you have to just release it. You have to keep putting it out there. And so it's been really cool prepping for new live shows and also starting to incorporate the new songs that I've been
Mhm.
working on because my producer Kyle and I we're just gonna pump them out. We have so many good
Yeah.
songs that we've been sitting on, and we're like, we're gonna finish these or we're gonna work on the new ones and just put them out because you never know. And my whole goal with putting them out is yes, it's fun to listen to them, obviously. Who doesn't love
Mhm.
listening to their own music? But it's either sits on my computer, sits on a hard drive, or it goes out there and maybe it helps, even if it helped one person be like, oh my goodness, that was exactly what I
Yeah.
went through. Like, that's crazy. That's better than it just sitting on our hard drive. And then in 2 years, we're going to write so many new songs that we like even better, that are even cooler, that we're not going to want to put those out. So it's just like, keep putting them out, keep doing things. And yeah, everything will happen in its right time, which is hard because we can't control it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm gonna see you soon perform.
yes,
Like I'll be at a
yes,
show. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited.
me too.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I do have one last question since I don't
Ooh,
want to take you too long, but kind of going off, we've done this every time, but we are going off palace in the royal
ooh,
court. So
okay.
you're in the royal throne and you have 2 to 3 musical idols or influences surrounding you. Who would they be?
Ooh,
And we can like, I like to say that mine changed weekly, if not monthly. Like since it's like kind of a hard question, it's not set in stone. It could be
yes.
like for the moment.
Ooh. Okay, for the moment. Oh my gosh, for the moment. Yes, it always changes. Okay, I would actually say for the moment, right now, I would say I've been really influenced by Casey Musgraves and
Love.
Slater at the moment. I feel like I'll go
Mm-hmm.
through I'm such a songer. I'm such like a I'll just listen to something on repeat until I'm like, okay, I need a new thing. Same with albums. I'll be like,
Same.
I'm listening to this album every day for like, and and I'll move on from it, not because I'm sick of it, but because I'm like, okay, I need a change, and then I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
And as of lately, I've listened to a lot of old Casey Musgraves. Like,
So
give me
good.
some pageant material. Give me some pageant
Mm-hmm.
material. Slept on. I
Yes.
like so good. Same with Golden Hour, but that whole, even our first Same Trailer Different Park, like I grew up like listening to that album. Those are some of the
Same.
first songs I learned how to play on guitar when I was younger. And I hadn't listened to it in a while. I was listening to her new stuff, which is still really good, but I just love some of her older stuff. And then of course listening to Worst Girl in America, because who isn't?
Right. It's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the current influences right now.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. Do you have any last things you want to say before you go?
Ooh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited, and just I hope that everybody cries, laughs, feel all of your
Mm-hmm.
emotions to the new songs on Cinematic Deluxe that is coming out August 7th, which is crazy. I feel like where did the summer go?